account blow up. They're not punishments. They're spotlights on your blind spots, on your beliefs, on your resistance to growth. But to see it clearly, you have to drop your ego. Stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what is this showing me? The lesson isn't in the event. It's in your willingness to see what's behind it. The world is always trying to teach you something. The question is whether you're ready to listen. One final thought. In the US startup scene, failure is expected. Investors ask founders, how many businesses have you failed? What did you learn from your last blow-up? It's a badge of experience, a sign you've taken risks, learned lessons, and grown from them. But in much of Europe, it's still the opposite. There's a well-known joke here. In Silicon Valley, you're expected to have failed at least once. In Europe, you better hope no one finds out. And it's not far from reality. Founders who've gone through bankruptcy usually face legal and financial barriers to starting again. In Portugal, where I live, failing a business can tank your credibility for years. In many parts of Europe, failure still reads like a red flag. You find that traders seem to follow that script. They adopt these
Hey man, price is holding this area, man.
Part of the cost of doing business and the type of setback that makes you better. Your losses teach you more than your winners ever will. Learning from failure isn't free. The price is discomfort, but if you're serious about long-term performance, be glad to pay it. Because the only real failure is refusing to learn. With love, Sarah, unlock your next level in trading. This is for committed traders with a strategy already in place, now ready to master execution, eliminate emotional mistakes, and elevate performance. 2 plans: close guidance with video calls and chat support or session packages for flexible scheduling. Proven tools, mental frameworks, trading journals, and performance trackers. Expect leveraged accountability, a mindset upgrade, and elite processes. Ready to turn consistency into growth and growth into profit.
Hello everyone, so Sarah from the High Performing Trader here, and I came here to announce the next upcoming webinar, which is gonna be about the key differences between
When trading feels unfair, how to break free from the end quote, balancing quote, trap. The Thursday Traders Tip Edition offers to-the-point trading performance advice.
Hold on, if you like to see
By Sarah,
the next macro
leverage
come
trading
trying to,
accountability.
play around this
A few months ago,
50%
one of my clients shared something profound.
It's
After a
discount,
string
but
of
this
losses,
is
he
not.
felt this urge to
That's just
balance
not
things
nice,
out.
man.
He would start pushing harder, pushing trades, all in the name of balancing results. If I just put in a little more effort, I'll get back what I lost. It has to even out. Later on, we found out this had to do with his need for justice belief. He couldn't stand unfairness, and seeing trades going against him felt like so. Later on, I've had crossed paths with other traders feeling the exact same thing. So I've decided to make this post for anyone who's ever felt the bitterness of unfairness in trading and how to free yourself from it. Why trading feels so unfair. At first glance, it should feel unfair. You study harder and you lose. You journal religiously and you still lose. You follow your plan perfectly and you lose again. In almost every other area of life, school, sports, career, effort is rewarded. Put in the work and eventually you'll see the results. But trading isn't like life. It's much more like surfing. You can show up with your board, perfect your stance, master your timing, and still get wiped out by a random wave. Not because you're bad, but because nature, like the market, doesn't negotiate. It doesn't owe you a wave because you deserve it. The hidden cost of fighting the market. When you cling to the belief that you must balance things out, you fall into a loop. You lose. You feel the injustice. You work harder to force a win. You overtrade, overthink, overeffort. You lose more and feel even more. It's a downward spiral built not on reality, but on expectation. And expectations, especially the expectation that the market will reward effort fairly, turn natural losses into personal betrayals, feedback into injustice, and a neutral market into an enemy. The market is never unfair. It's just unresponsive to effort. Enjoying the read, spread the word. The real meaning of process. My client eventually learned something that shifted everything. The process is not a guarantee of short-term reward. It's a long-term relationship with probability. Easy to know, less easy to simulate subconsciously. Each individual trade is just a coin flip. And sometimes, even when you flip the coin perfectly, it still lands the wrong way. But if you respect the process, over hundreds of trades, the edge plays out. Good process leads to good outcomes, but not every time. A good process only promises a compounding advantage. The day my client stopped trying to earn benefits and started simply honoring this process, he was no longer fighting the ocean. He was learning
Alright,
to survive.
calm down
A
now.
simple practice to free
From a
yourself.
break of structure
Next time, catch yourself
for
thinking,
sure.
I need to win this trade to make up for that loss.
The first value gap is
Pause.
holding
Take
us
a breath.
here. I mean,
And
I
say to
realize
yourself,
can't, right? But
I am not here to
I
balance
can't trust
everything.
that this
I am
is
here
gonna
to
hold
execute well and let the
for the
probabilities
rest
play
of
out
the
over
future,
time.
man.
One trade is not your worth. One session is not your destiny. One outcome is not your
TSP with the
validation.
fair value gap.
Trading is
Cool.
not about fairness. It's
We
about
need to
flowing
retest
detachment and
this,
trust.
which is
In
50%.
closing,
We need
the
to
market isn't
retest
fair,
and
it's
tap it,
honest.
you know?
It doesn't favor you when you try harder. It doesn't punish you when you relax. It simply reflects probability, chaos, and rhythm indifferent to your effort. When you let go of needing it to be fair, you free yourself to play the real game. A game of skill, patience, trust, and infinite second chances. You don't need to balance the scales. You just need to keep showing up. And that's more than enough. Peaceful trading. Sarah, love the read? Spread the word and show support. If you enjoyed the post, consider upgrading to the paid plan. Related reads.
Yeah.
Hello, my name's Tony Frisbee, and today I'm going to tell you about
Shut
the
up,
next
bruv. Shut up.
doing this. Please tap the button. Elevate your trading with personalized coaching designed for serious. Unlocking your ideal performance mindset, IPM, in trading. How top performers activate their best self, and how you can too. By Sarah. A. Unlearning the mind programs holding back your trading success. B. The essential keys to focus on the process. C. Maximizing the power of self-awareness. D. Recovering from market trauma. Thank you. Tired of repeating the same trading mistakes despite knowing better. Most traders try to fix their mindset by working harder. Elite performers do the opposite. When we think about elite performance, we usually picture sheer effort and discipline. And yeah, that's part of it, but there's more to it. Michael Gervais, the sports coach of the Seattle Seahawks and executive coach of Microsoft, calls it the ideal performance mindset, IPM, the mental state where top performers operate at their best. This is about knowing exactly what it feels like to be at your peak and intentionally triggering that state. Most traders can describe to me in the coaching session their problem pattern in vivid detail. They know exactly what it feels like to be tilted, the thoughts, the emotions, the aftermath. But when I ask them about their best pattern, their ideal performance mindset, they struggle to verbalize it. Some realize they've never even experienced it. And here's the thing, it's already hard to break out of a problem pattern, but it's nearly impossible to move towards something you can't even feel. This IPM is closely tied to the flow state. The best performers in the world don't just stumble into it, they create it. What top performers do differently before they even start? Watch a professional athlete before a game. From the preparation rituals to the way they walk onto the field and how they talk to themselves, it's all intentional. You might hear some scream, "You got this. Let's go." Others use a calm, focused internal dialogue. The common theme is that they don't leave their mindset to chance. They deliberately anchor into their ideal state. In today's read, I'll show you exactly how a client went from not knowing his IPM to building a pre-trading ritual that anchored it and drastically changed how he traded. Let's dive in. Stress or excitement? You decide. During the Tokyo 2020 Olympics, reporters kept asking athletes the same question after their performances. Were you nervous? The revealing thing was their strikingly similar answers. No, I was excited. Simon Beck described the scenario in this 1 minute video. Here's the key. Physiologically, stress and excitement are the same. Racing heart, sweaty palms, hugging the nerves. The only difference is how you frame it, which is the cognitive part of the emotional experience. When asked about her mindset before competition, you just have to trust your training, breathe, and turn those nerves into fuel. Michael Phelps did this in his own way. Before every race, he'd zone in with the same exact playlist. Michael Gervais, the sports coach of the introduction, teaches his athletes to reframe stress as excitement. And it works. I experienced this firsthand before my first major public speaking event in Lisbon. I had never talked to such a large audience, around 100 traders. Not gonna lie, I was under immense stress. I couldn't even hide it or ignore it. What helped me, though, was framing it as excitement by shifting from results-based thinking, delivering a perfect speech, to purpose-based thinking, giving traders actionable steps to improve their performance. That single shift changed everything. The fear didn't disappear, but it lost its power because I wasn't there to perform perfectly. I was there to serve an audience with something I knew inside out. Even if just one idea stuck, I knew it would bring value. Same thing in trading. When facing a tough loss, a missed trade, or extreme volatility, we normally get caught up in a single perspective. But this perspective is just a pixel in the full picture. Our brains rely on that to build the emotional state. But when you zoom out to see the whole frame, you can also see the distortions in your thinking. From there, your brain has no other choice but to adjust. It's called mismatch resolution. Your perception is the filter for your emotional state. When you're tilted, zoom out. Ask, what piece of information am I missing here? Where can my current thinking be faulty? Where's the opportunity here? Remember, your brain will answer the questions you ask it. Better questions, better answers. Case study, Mateo's IPM. Mateo reached out to me, struggling with inconsistency in execution. We had a couple of individual coaching sessions. The theme was, he'd start his session sharp, quality decisions, no mistakes, but he'd slowly shift into reactive mode as it progressed. His problem was that he could not access his IPM when he needed it most. This is common. Traders' biggest mistakes don't happen in the initial trades, but later on, as the mental energy declines and emotions take the lead. Mateo and I first worked on understanding his problem pattern. Once we had a clear understanding of it, we did the same for his best performance pattern. We identified the feelings, emotions, and behaviors that made him the best in his trades. Then we built an anchor, an NLP technique. The process went like this. We identified his IPM. When did he feel in full control? What specific actions, thoughts, and emotions were present in those days? We created anchors. We linked his best mindset to specific actions, from how he sat at his desk to breathing patterns to a particular mantra he told himself before placing a trade. Mateo reinforced them. By consistently repeating these tiny rituals before and during trading, he could consciously trigger his IPM every session. The result? Sharper focus for longer in the session. Our success measure was the number of mistakes during the session. He went from 5 to 2. He'd stop then. Task of the week, applying this to your trading routine. By now, you hopefully realized how important it is to have a clear idea of what your IPM feels like. If you want to evoke your best performance, it starts in the mind. What does your IPM look like? Identify your IPM. What does your best trading mindset feel like? How do you think, sit, breathe, and act when you're at your best? If you have no clear idea, study how the best traders do it. Notice this goes beyond results. I want you to identify their mindsets, behaviors after law. The mistake that cost me 2 years of trading, and how I fixed it. How ignoring my strengths cost me 2 years in trading. By Sarah. Want to maximize trading accountability. 2 years. That's how long I spent trying to force myself into something that just wasn't me. I kept telling myself I needed to be patient. Everyone said patience was the key to success in trading. So I sat there watching the market, trying to force myself into the mold of a swing trader. And for 2 years, I struggled. I was frustrated, not just with my results, but with how unnatural
Alright,
trading
man,
was.
this up, man.
It was like
This
I was
is
fighting
up.
myself every step of the way.
Let's see what we
Granted,
get. What's up,
one
Danny?
day, after endless self-analysis, I realized the problem wasn't the strategy. The problem was the mismatch between who I was and how I was trading. I didn't need patience. I needed a trading style that fit me. So I made a switch. I moved to day trading. The moment I transitioned, everything made sense. I didn't change my strategy much. I was looking for the exact same pattern. Trading suddenly felt natural. Eventually, I even moved from the 15-minute execution time frame to the 5-minute, which amplified my results and my enjoyment of the process. At the time, I had no clue why this felt so right. I just knew it did. My intuition was telling me that this was the path that aligned with who I was, and I followed it. But this intuition is not always easy to follow, especially when there's noise coming from social media and internal doubts. It becomes difficult to know what's right for you. It wasn't until recently, when I took the Clifton Strengths Assessment to know more about my way of operating, that everything truly clicked. In today's post, I'll break down how understanding my strengths completely shifted my enjoyment of the process. Learn how I went from struggling with a strategy that didn't fit me to creating a process that plays to my natural strengths, and how you can do the same. Why your strengths hold the key to your trading success. Clifton Strengths is an assessment that helps you understand how you naturally operate by identifying your top strengths. My number one strength, strategic. At first, I didn't think much of it, but as I dug deeper in coaching sessions with Peter, one of my coaches, everything started clicking into place. Strategic thinkers naturally see patterns and connect dots quickly. We don't enjoy filtering through endless ideas. We see the big picture, play what-if scenarios in our brain, and find the best route to follow, one we feel confident about. It's true that I never enjoyed heavy research. I also don't enjoy long periods of waiting, but more a quicker way to operate. No wonder swing trading felt so off. Looking back, I see the pattern everywhere in my life. When I take on any project, whether whether it's work, business, or personal growth. I assess the situation, find the key elements, and create a structured plan. That's how I operate best. And in trading, that's why I thrive with a systematic approach, clear entry rules, defined trade management, and a structured journaling process. I enjoy the process being repetitive, predictable, and to some, even boring. That's where my edge is. This is the exact approach I take when coaching my one-on-one clients. I help them uncover their natural strengths and align their trading process with how they operate best. Because just like I had to find my own way, every trader needs to craft a system that truly fits them. That's the key to consistency and discipline. I doubt I'd ever be a great swing trader. In fact, I probably would have quit. But once I understood my strengths, I could lean into them instead of working against them. Looking back, I was already pulling myself toward what worked best for me. I just didn't realize it yet. Maybe if I had done the Clifton Strengths assessment earlier, I would have saved those 2 years. But that's all part of the process. I don't blame myself for it, nor do I see those 2 initial years as a waste of time. What I do know is this: if you have the chance, take the time to understand yourself. It pays off. As for my other strengths, 2, individualization. 3,
Now that 7 o'clock is running out these hours.
5, includer.
You
3,
get
care
salute.
about relationship building, which makes sense
Salute.
because I'm seeking to incorporate more of that in my life. How? I'm still figuring it out, but it might explain why I'm here right this week.
Because now the career from come all the way down to
As I
9:30
navigate
lows.
life, my focus remains on growing by using my strengths, not working against them. Why I struggle with trading confidence? Most traders don't struggle with confidence because they lack skill. It's because they keep stepping outside what actually works. I see it all the time. A trader who loves clear structures following someone else's discretionary strategy. A trader who thrives on rapid decision making, trying to hold positions for days. Confidence doesn't come from forcing yourself into someone else's mold. It comes from operating inside your circle of expertise, the area where your strengths, experience, and defined skills lie. When you understand your strengths, you gain clarity where your circle lies. And once you do, the key is to stay inside it. Many things will try to pull you outside of your circle of expertise. Social media, other traders' opinions, lack of trust in yourself, drawdowns. Building trust in your own process is essential to staying within your circle. We talked about this in past posts. These experiments
Look at this.
the answer is always in
Look at what they're doing.
exceptionalism only exists within it, not outside.
I get it.
Pareto principle in trading.
That was not for me.
This aligns with Pareto's principle that I personally
That
love.
was not for me. I am bullish. I am a buyer today. It's just
Pareto principle states that 80%
this
of
ain't for me.
20% of efforts. Apple doubled
This
down
ain't for
on
me.
that. Its
Nope.
main revenue driver, while scaling back
I
on
see
its
why.
airport.
I would have even liked to tap.
Maybe you've never
Just
become
tapping this
serious.
would have given me more confidence.
Intelligence-focused
Just
researchers,
tapping that.
enterprise, and bestsellers
But
like
no, they
Mac
don't want to give it to me. The
This
problem.
includes
I mean, my other accounts, facts, but
spaghetti and salads over time. You too can apply this principle to your trading business.
still,
I've noticed that 80% of my best performance comes from 20% of my trades in specific processes. A-plus setups in trending environments, pre-session routines, preparation rituals, and others. Once I started doubling down on those, my performance improved significantly. The idea behind this, instead of spreading your focus thin, identify the 20% that truly moves the needle and go all out. Now, feedback loop of strengths. What happens when you build a trading process? You feel more in control. The feedback loop. The more you trade in alignment with who you are, the better you feel about trading. And the better you feel, the more consistently you execute. Traders lose confidence when they operate outside their own circle of expertise, trying to succeed in someone else's. This is something I see a lot. Traders try and make a certain strategy or trading style work, just like I did in my first 2 years of trading. Something keeps them attached to that specific strategy or style. Maybe the need to prove it works, maybe the challenge or their ego. Either way, that's the wrong approach. And the longer you take to see it, the more costly it is to get out of it. You're better off accepting you have both weaknesses and strengths, as all things on earth, and identifying your trade identity, your core, what you're good at, what you love. This doesn't mean you can't spend time working on your weaknesses. Just know they'll never become elite strengths. Becoming an exceptional trader can only happen within your circle of expertise. So here's my challenge for you this week. After the week, you don't need to take the Clifton Strengths test to start this process, though if you want to, here's the link. Instead, take a step closer to understanding your strengths by reflecting on these questions. How do you naturally tackle tasks in your life? Do you analyze first? Do you act quickly? Do you prefer structure or flexibility? What type of work do you find most fulfilling, both inside and outside of trading? What types of tasks drain you the most? Knowing yourself is one thing. Actually using that knowledge is what makes the difference. Take 5 minutes to reflect. What tasks and trades feel natural? What drains you about trading? What do your best trades have in common? Now think about how you can better align your trading style, session hours, strategy, the way you manage your trades, the number of trades per day, your time frame, the rules you use, and the processes to journal, analyze trades, and backtest with your strengths. Not all your strengths will indicate a straightforward link in your
I've
trading.
got a
It took
nice
me a while to
entry
realize why I
on
was
this
so IT
story.
research averse. But you don't need to force yourself to love something you don't. Trading is flexible that way, and that's what makes it beautiful. There are plenty of ways to be a successful trader. You just got to find yours and operate in your circle of expertise. Quit forcing yourself into someone else's system. Your trading edge isn't just in your strategy, it's in how well your strategy fits you. With love, Sarah. P.S. If you found value in this, please tap the button. The Peak Performance Trading Program. Elevate your trading with personalized coaching designed for serious traders. 2, 4, or 6-month programs. Weekly 90-minute coaching calls. Chat support for real-time feedback. Proven tools, performance trackers, worksheets, and trading psychology journals. Ready to finally eliminate repetitive mistakes, trade with flow, and see results. Latest video, related reads.
Is she having more sex? It doesn't matter if you're raped. There is nothing wrong with putting Cheerios.
Shut up.
The trade you didn't see, how perspective shapes your performance. Missed trades and losses aren't the real problem. How you react to them is. Here's how to shift your perspective and stop punishing yourself twice. By Sarah. Are you trading at your full potential? The other day, I walked to the post office, 15 minutes from my place in Lisbon, to pick up an order. I checked the time, 18:10H. Close call, but I'd made it. Or so I thought. Through the glass doors, I saw the workers still inside. I locked eyes with one of them and asked, politely, if I could still pick it up. No, they said, obviously. Frustrated, I turned around and walked back home. First, my breath. 15 minutes wasted. Nothing annoys me more than wasted time. And just as I got home, I remembered that I had planned to stop by the supermarket on my way back for groceries. But I was so stuck in my frustration that I forgot. Now I had to leave the house again. The result? I didn't just lose time once. I lost it twice. The next day, determined to finally get my package, I checked online to make sure the post office was open. It was Carnival Day this past Tuesday, and it could be a holiday for some, but according to Google, they were open. So I walked there again. As I arrived, I saw it was dark inside from a distance. No movement. Closed. My nerves kicked in. Typical Portugal. Businesses never update their opening hours online properly. Maybe not so typical as here. I got closer just to be sure. And there it was, the sign on the door. Closed for Carnival on March 4th. We reopened Wednesday. And that's when it hit me. I'd seen this exact same sign the day before. But I've been so frustrated, so stuck in my reaction, that I never actually registered it. If I had, I wouldn't have wasted another 30 minutes walking back and forth. This wasn't about the trip. Frustration blinded me and made me repeat the same mistake. What does this have to do with trading? Later that same day, March 4th, the exact same thing happened to me in trading. I was writing something on Substack, then switched to Trading Group, only to realize I had just missed an entry I had been watching closely. Frustration hit instantly. I started analyzing what went wrong. And while I was caught up in that moment, another setup was unfolding on the wrist. Guess what? Missed that one too, smiley face. Same story with losses. Maybe this sounds familiar to you. You take a loss. You can't let it go, so you sit there analyzing, rationalizing, telling yourself you need to make it back. Meanwhile, the next great setup is playing out right in front of you, but you don't see it because your mind is still stuck in the past. The result? You're punished twice. First, by the market because losses happen. They're part of the game. There's nothing to learn from a valid loser. But the second punishment, that's entirely your fault. As the saying goes, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, can't put the blame on you. Both the post office situation and the missed trade were teaching me something, and that's when things clicked for me. In this post, I break down exactly what happens when you stay stuck in the past and how reframing your perspective will help you let go to make the best of the trading session. The power of perspective. It's never about the event itself. It's about your perspective on the event, how you react to it.
Follow me 3 times for
Every
peace
obstacle
sign
is the way, and it reinforces something we overlook.
for the chop on
What
this
we see as an
way.
obstacle isn't external, it's internal. We create our own obstacles through perspective.
Alright.
Had I kept my cool when I first went to the post office, I would have noticed the sign and saved myself a second trip. Had I let go of that initial missed trade, I wouldn't have let that frustration cause me to miss another. When we get stuck in resistance, caught up in what shouldn't have happened, we blind ourselves to what's actually happening. Brett Steenbarger gives us a great piece of advice for this. Whenever you take a loss, ask yourself, what's the extra piece of data the market has just given me? And how can you use it to inform your next decision in the best way possible? If you lost money on a valid trade, what does that tell you? Maybe the market conditions are shifting. When a setup that worked flawlessly in the past fails multiple times, take a curious perspective.
I know you
What's
didn't pick
different
me
this
up.
time?
I know that.
Maybe your execution was off. Or maybe it's just randomness. Either way, if you stop resisting the loss, you can use it to move forward. If you dwell on it, your mind can't see what's in front of you. Think about the last time this happened to you. You were locked into frustration over a trade, and when you reviewed the day, you noticed your plus setup was right there. If you're enjoying the read, I'd love you to share the post to support my writings. Viktor Frankl's Perspective Shift. This reminds me of Viktor Frankl, author of Man's Search for Meaning. He survived the unimaginable, Nazi concentration camps. They took everything from him, his freedom, his family, his dignity. But he held on to one thing they could never take, his mind. He realized the ultimate freedom wasn't external, but internal, the ability to choose his response. Instead of breaking, he found meaning in suffering. Those who survived weren't necessarily the strongest, but the ones who held on to a purpose. His core lesson was, end quote, everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances. End quote. Bringing it back to trading. Obviously, your life isn't in danger. You're not in a concentration camp fighting for survival. But the market will make you feel like you have no choice. Your private brain sees it as life or death. But the truth is, you always have a
That would have been good enough for a
You
partial.
get to every situation, pleasant or
Right now, I'm trying to see if I can come below this low,
A trader is as good as his ability
you
to
know,
handle discomfort, not avoid it.
pick up some
Some
orders.
traders let a small mistake ruin their day. They spiral, replay it in their minds, beat themselves up.
Form a new high of the session, I guess.
Who do you think handles pain better? You cannot change losses.
The
Some
draw,
struggle more than others.
even if we don't get there, it's top set
But the only way to
till
move
about
past it
12.
is to attach a meaning that helps you. Rewiring your brain to be okay with loss requires reverse
So the
engineering.
9:30 session should close bullish above this. So
Reframe losses.
by 12, if we don't have our entry, we
Train
just
yourself
cut it
to
off.
step back and keep going. At first, it won't feel natural, but over time, you'll notice it.
Yeah.
You stop taking losses so personally. They don't become more pleasant; they just become more insignificant. And with that, you gain clarity. You start seeing the market as it is, not as you wish it. That's the art of detached trading. Task of the week. Think of a moment, whether in trading or in life, where you struggle to let go. It could be a fight.
About to go mute. Mute. Yeah. One, low, low. Man. I'm gonna end stream there. That's enough. Yo.